Call to order the Board of Mayor and Alderman work session. This is the September the 5th, 2024, Fayetteville, Tennessee. First on the agenda, we have public comments. We've had 3 people so far to sign up to speak, and so we'll start with that at this time. Each speaker will have 3 minutes. This is your time to say what you want to say. The board will not engage you or answer questions. That would be for a later time. Public comments is for you. So first on the roll, we have Carl Blagren. If you want to come forward, Carl.
Good morning.
Morning.
And I've asked twice about if there's a time limit on public comments, and each time I was told there was not. So I've timed my speech. I'm not talking. At this point, it's right at 9 minutes. So I'd like to be able to finish, but I understand the protocol says something different. One shot. I just want to address a few things, I guess, that's been bothering me regarding the city sidewalk project. I know y'all probably heard enough already, but I guess I felt like I needed to at least point out a few things that you may or may not have noticed or paid attention to. There's a very high level of frustration among business and building owners about the project. We feel like we aren't being listened to and that our valid concerns don't matter. I believe that many of my concerns could have been addressed years ago before coming to a head now. We were invited to meet with the city and engineers to give them our wish list and desires. And I fully expected a follow-up session to share with us the proposal and offer us a chance to ask questions and review the design. I was never made aware of a follow-up session, even though there may have been one. I don't think that many others got the notice either. And I hope the city doesn't rely on social media as the best way to officially inform the public. When it was time for our West Side information meeting, I only knew about it thanks to a friend's text. Others only knew 3 days before, and still others less than 24 hours when the city knocked on their door. I expect the courtesy of a mailed notification, phone call, or email well in advance of a meeting. The lack of communication, especially in the design phase, has been problematic. Emails now come regularly with construction updates, but earlier intervention would have been beneficial. I've visited other towns and cities and have noted how they have addressed their ADA issues. None have the over-designed and confusing outcome that we are experiencing. Walking down Broadway in Nashville, around the courthouse in Huntsville, or even downtown Chicago, none have the excessive design work we are seeing. Most of these places have greater grade changes and yet no never-ending brick walls. I know the frustration of the construction timeline and the financial hit that businesses are currently facing, but I'm looking beyond the short-term headache towards the long-term effects. So here are a few of my observations. ADA compliance, which is the driving force of the entire project, it can be a hindrance, but it also has exceptions in historic districts that don't have to be so invasive. I realize that walls are necessary to manage the grade changes in some areas, but not these walls. Many cities satisfy the ADA challenge by designating handicap parking at each end of the block with an accessible sidewalk all along the block. 5 feet of our walkable open sidewalk is taken up with ramps that connect the lower sidewalk to the upper sidewalk. However, these ramps don't appear to be necessary because they have no ramp access at the lower sidewalk. So there'll have to be a curb cut, new concrete, and the entire block restriped to provide a handicapped parking space. I believe that ADA compliance could have been met with much less masonry and a simpler design. Functionality. The current design has little consideration for the walking public or the existing architecture. The 6-foot wide space between buildings and brick wing walls is just enough for 2 people to pass, unless you're in front of Norman's, that only one person can pass if someone is sitting on the wall.
Carl, that's 3 minutes is up.
I know, but I specifically asked you if there was a time limit, and you said no. You said as long as it's not 15, and when I timed it earlier, it was 7. And then when I asked somebody yesterday on the phone, they also told me that there was no time limit.
Okay. Kevin, I think there is a 3-minute time limit. Am I correct?
We do have a time limit.
I was told there was a 2-minute time limit if you were before the board at the official meeting on a Tuesday night, but not one for public comments.
It's 3 minutes also for public comments at the board meeting, so.
But when I specifically asked you on the phone, you told me as long as it's not 15, you did not say anything about it being 3 minutes.
I said, Carl, call the office, sign up, and they will give you the time. This is not a place, time to argue.
No,
It's 3
and I'm
minutes.
not, I know I'm not trying to argue. I guess there's just some things that I thought needed to be heard that y'all may have not noticed. And since you can't speak at the city meeting, and the work session will be the time that you could come and present it to y'all, since this was supposed to be. Because 3 minutes is kind of hard to make any sort of,
It is. So you can meet with us at any time, at a later time, and give us those. And
but how is that supposed to be when I've tried that before?
Do you want to submit your comments and we can make sure you...
I'll be happy to. I've tried to mark some stuff out that it was longer. I guess I just wanted you to see, I know the two sides are already done and contracted out. The other two,
Carl, my 3 minutes.
That's what I was gonna say. Can we do that?
no,
I'm
it's
okay with
per
that.
speaker. The rule is per speaker, so.
all right, thank you. I just, again, I had hoped that y'all would be a little open to hear a little more, especially when you could see what the north side is going to look like when it's done. And I was hoping y'all could revisit the north and east sides and at least reconsider what y'all have done up to this point.
Thank you.
That's what I was gonna say. They can have her as time. I'm fine with that.
Well, we've got other speakers.
But she just said she don't want.
Yeah, she can claim her time and let him speak in place of her.
I'm fine with that.
She's giving her time.
I'd like to hear what he.
I'd like to finish hearing what you got to say.
Speaking.
Okay,
Take her 3 minutes, if that's okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So far, again, these are just some basic stuff, and I was trying to get them all out here. The wing wall, again, if you've noticed, the wing wall in front of Senor Lopez splits the doorway in half. There's only 3 foot of clearance when the door is open. No major restaurant equipment, furniture, or construction materials, sheetrock and plywood can easily be maneuvered in and out of the buildings. The design is an impediment and not an improvement. If there's scaffolding or scissor lifts in the place, if there's construction, no one will be able to get by. If you have a double stroller trying to get down Norman's side, there's only 5 inches to clear a space with that. And mobility scooters may have issues trying to turn corners. The only changes to the current plans on my side, the west side, are to eliminate planning areas to make some more access points like the south side. So if there was a cohesive landscaping plan to unify and beautify the square with trees and shrubs, that plan is now non-existent. On the plans for the north side, there are only 2 access points along the entire block, both in the center, smack dab in front of the theater. The ramp, walls, steps, and handrails rise up under the marquee, and they're only 6'6" from either side of the building. Imagine the confusion when the movie's let out and 100 to 150 people are funneled into the space. It will look like a cattle holding pen surrounding the herd. Of all the places on the square that deserve a large plaza and some breathing room, it is the theater. They also show the lower sidewalk ending 70 feet from the corner of Main and College. So people parking on that end of the block will have to go up to the theater and down back to Bagley and Bagley, or walk in the road for 70 feet to the corner. And on the side we're on now, in what should have been a no-brainer for placement of stairs to a main entrance to a city building, the stairs are between. And the lower sidewalk on this side also doesn't connect to the upper sidewalk. So if you're walking down the lower sidewalk and want to turn on Market, they'll have to walk out into the road. Several brick walls have drainage holes, but I suspect after debris gets in them or we have a downpour that those will become retention ponds. And they also show high-top tables and stools in front of my place, as well as the Tigress. I personally don't plan on serving slaw burgers from my gallery, and I don't like the furniture blocking the sight lines to my windows. And the big question, how will this design affect Host of Christmas Past, the Slaw Burger Festival, or any other major downtown event? How will thousands of people manage to weave between, around, through, beside, and over this place? And will they return if it proves to be a hassle? My hopes for a thoughtful sidewalk design appear to be dimming. And how does it look? How does it make you feel? It's such a mass of bricks and handrails, it is not welcoming to the public. Sections look like they're there to corral people. It's like the designer never looked at the buildings and how they related with the sidewalk. Walls split doorways, walls don't align with property edges, and no thought was given to how openings should relate to entrances. You know, our square has been featured in movies, videos, marquee shout-outs, and one nationwide commercial. But I don't think we'll have to worry about that anymore, because the front of the theater will no longer be an inviting space. The design needs to enhance the local architecture and not distract and overpower it. Our square deserves better. And no wonder this project came in over budget with all the labor and materials required to form, pour, and brick the maze of walls. Imagine if the walls were reduced by half. I would like to think the project could have been realized. My fear is that Fed will become the poster child for how to kill your downtown or what not to do to your historic square. I love our 1810 Square, but Chevelville, also 1810, and Winchester, 1809, have each managed to add new sidewalks without destroying the charm and character of their square. I wish for that. I want our downtown to be inviting, walkable, and accessible. I know that all you didn't have anything to do with the construction project, but you're here now and you can do something about it. I ask the board to revisit the current design with Corey Engineering and the contractor and reconsider other options. I know there is a contract in the crew, but there is still time to act. There is time to redesign them before they go to the bad side on the north and the east side. And I think you eliminate some of the excessive brick walls that the money saved would pay for any design changes from Corey Engineering. I encourage each of you to walk over the current sites, look around, ask a passerby or an owner their thoughts, then ask yourself, is it more appealing? Is it more welcoming and user-friendly? Is it easier to walk around? Does it enhance the buildings on the square? Does it beautify and improve the downtown? It takes courage to admit something may not be working as expected and change course. I believe it is your duty to leave this city better than when you were first elected. So ask yourself, when this is all completed, will it be better? Thank you.
The next speaker is Cherie Lamone. I'm going to give you the opportunity.
Morning.
Good morning.
First of all, I just want to tell you, my background is that I had a company called Strasburg Children. When I sold it, I had over 22 stores. Some were in retail outlet places, some were freestanding, and some were in malls. I know retail. It was very successful. One of the most successful clothing business in the country. For 2 months, I've been telling whoever would listen to me in the city that this plan is a disaster for retail, and it will be. And I hate to predict it and be right. The C-poles are not placed well enough. They're not large enough. We're blocked off completely from traffic. People are confused. People that have had to come to my building are confused. I'm getting ready to do a total renovation of my building. Like Carl said, sheetrock, painting, scaffolding. Where am I supposed to put this? Where are the people going? It's ridiculous. Right now, I took the ball in the middle of between the law office and my building, it slopes like this. Across from this, there's no C-pole. The C-poles are here. I predict that the first rain and freeze we have, you're going to have a little ice patch there. The city's not going to maintain these C-poles. The concrete guy told me they have to be because they're small. I just am so sad that this town, that I've spent over $1 million restoring buildings here and homes, has done this. I'm really sad. And I'm going to tell you, if my building has a pool in front of it, I am taking, and this is on the record, I'm going to take a sledgehammer and knock the wall down. And you can come arrest me, and then I'll get Johnny to defend me. There may be a conflict of interest. But anyway, I'm just so disappointed, and I'm so sad because it's ruined. The wrought iron you used on the railings looks like it's from an institution. Where's the wrought iron? Where's some beautiful whatever? There's no charm left. I think you've ruined the square. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Ursula from Antigua.
Further.
I really didn't. Oh, was it now? I thought we just signed in, sorry.
Oh, that's not to speak. This is to speak. Okay. Okay, so we'll move forward then. And item number 3 is approval of the minutes for the August 8th, 2024 work session minutes. Those minutes have been provided to you. Is there any corrections?
Looks good to me.
If not, those minutes will be stand as approved. Now we're going to move to our department reports, and first up is the fire department. Chief Davy Bergman.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. Number one on my item is Resolution R-2024-12. This is to become a member of Sourcewell. It allows us to broaden our purchasing options. It's a federal company that does bidding for you and already does all the back work, so it allows you to get some big discounts. And you don't have to jump through all the hoops trying to say, hey, who is my best bidder? It's already done for you. I talked with our MTAS representative. He said that in our bylaws it shows that we have to have approval from the board to even purchase anything. And then each purchase after that will have to be approved to use Sourcewell for that as well. So that's what I'm asking for y'all to approve us to be a member of that.
So John, you reviewed this and you're okay with it?
The second item I have is just my report. Everything's running very well, knock on wood, at the department. We had some individuals achieve some big certificates, and I'm very proud of them, even though it's not in their job description. We had one obtain his paramedic license. He has worked a year trying to achieve this, and he has, and I'm super proud of him on that. The rest of them are still trying to get all their certifications. They are moving into their inspection season, doing our life safety inspection, so you'll see us on the streets doing that in the next few weeks. That's my report.
Thank you.
I have
Any
a question.
questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a fee for this, for being a member of this?
No, ma'am. If the only fees that there are is going to be included into the purchase when you buy something. If it's a huge purchase like a fire truck, for instance, it might be $1,000, but it's already figured into the bid.
Okay, thank you. We'll move that resolution on to
Thank
the
you.
Tuesday night. Police Department, Commander Jacoby Templeton.
Good morning, Madam Mayor, Board. We have a few events that are coming up in the next few weeks or a couple of months. We've got the Frito-Lay Fun Run event, which will be September 28th. Be leaving Frito-Lay, going outside the city limits towards Winchester, and turn around and come back. Then we will have the Christmas parade, which will be December 7th, the annual parade. This coming up weekend, or the 13th, we have the Lincoln County High School Homecoming Parade. And we just had a recent event that was turned in for September 22nd. It is the Wild Soul Boutique event permit. They're wanting to set up inside the square, set up food trucks and such, and requesting to block off the inside of the square. As far as permits, that's the only ones we have. I would also like to present Taylor Gentry, one of our dispatchers, and Commander Jesse Casillas for certificates of commendation for the work they did with the school give back drive. They did an outstanding job. Mrs. Gentry came to Chief Pendergraft and I, put the notion out that she wanted to raise donations for school supplies, food, and a big event out at Kiwanis Park. It was a huge success, and so I'd like to recognize them for their hard work. As far as the director's report, hopefully within the next few days, we're going to have a determination of a new police chief. Unfortunately, we have had one resign over the past week. We are going to be holding interviews here very soon, hopefully to replace this individual and for other openings we have. And we will have Luis Salcedo, who will be graduating the police academy by the end of the month. So that's the good news. And that is my report.
Any questions for Commander?
On number 4, Wild Soul is listed as a non-profit. Is that right? Or is this a private?
I believe it's just to draw people.
Non-profit down here.
I believe that is the way it was listed. It was to bring people in around the square to.
Okay.
It's a retail store on the square on the south side.
Yeah.
I think there was question as to how that was to be worded.
I didn't know if it should be a non-profit or corporation. You've got a choice here.
Okay.
So see if it makes any difference. I'm just asking a question.
Any other questions? Items 1 through 5 will move on then to Tuesday night. Debbie? Next, we have Public Works Director Jack Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. All right, we'll get right into it. First, on the items of the sidewalk update. As of right now, they're actually pouring concrete, I think, over here. They're going to pour it today and tomorrow, finish up all the concrete work on the Market Street side. Sorry, how about that? Yeah, they're placing concrete today and tomorrow. They'll finish all the concrete work, and then he'll get back into laying brick. As far as the Main Street side, where the FPU's finishing up tying in all their meters, they should finish that work tomorrow. Bringing in all the new meters, tying in the new lines, and then we'll have our plumber come in and he'll tie from the meter to the to each building. That's on the city. There's no charge to the building owners to do this. We're having to replace that line. That way we have all new plumbing under the new concrete, so there'll be no issues there. The demolition should end today or tomorrow as far as that side goes. And then the survey will be in, I think he comes tomorrow and start shooting grades so that they can start doing their seat wall work and things. And we have Brad Stringer with Croy. He's working on what you have there in front of you. We've changed some of the layout of the Main Street side. We're opening up. We're going to try to open up, or the idea is to open up 2 more spots that would have been green areas, and also another opening where there's a ramp area. This gives a much more accessible points to this, to make it, I think, more traffic friendly for pedestrians. The thing is, there'll probably be a couple of steps in these areas because the elevation changes. It's pretty significant. You don't really realize it until you see the grade change on this from threshold of the doors to the curb, what we're working with. So that's the reason why some of the ramp area, and then the two areas you're looking at will probably be a couple of steps to go up into them with railing. So it gives us, that's like 3 additional egress points in and out sidewalk. So hopefully that'll help. And also there's been talk with Croy, and they are looking at the design over on the College Street side. They're totally revisiting that. So that's going to be seriously looked at, design there. So that's going to be open for some changes there as well.
Do we have any timeline on the College Street side? Do we have any?
On the college, you mean to start a new phase? We're actually working on that. Lisa Frost met with Loretta and I last week, and we're starting to get everything in. So our goal is to start that immediately afterwards. We still got some processes within to do.
Yeah, the state is going to be highly involved with that.
Correct, because it's state funded. Absolutely.
And typically when the state's involved with something, it slows it down a lot.
Yeah,
A whole lot. So I'm just wondering if there'd been any indication from the state about how this project might run.
Not as far as the timeline, but as far as the documents and stuff needed to be prepared, that's what we're completing too. But you're correct. I mean, so far since I've been here, it's been unpredictable, always depending on who was in office at the time.
So the last project we done with the state, it delayed us 4 years. I don't know.
5.
I stand corrected, 5 years. So I'm just wondering, if they're giving any indication about if we're going to get in that same type of scenario.
No,
No indication.
we're asking, we're reminding them that we're completing the current project, and we would like to keep things continuing. So, but we don't have a timeline yet.
But, so right now, the only thing engineered is College Street side. This side, nothing to do this side. It's out. So apparently there should be more state funding to do more than just that one block over there. So at what point will the engineers be looking at going any further with it? Do you know?
We are hoping as we start concluding this one, that's the plan.
Okay.
So at least by the end of the year.
Okay. To start looking at engineering on, I guess, on going west, is that what the plan is?
So that would be on the phase that we have already received funding. If we receive funding.
That's what I'm talking about, what we done received funding on.
Yes, that's where, and we have to send that out to bid. I mean.
So that is any funding left over, which should be go west with it down the hill.
Right,
That's-
as far as it extends, yes.
Keep it all
Yes,
straight.
yes.
I think the timeline on that was the one that's gonna be, I could be wrong, but I just know the last project we had that we dealt with as a committee. And Roger might have got in the tail end of it, I don't know, but it was like Dorothy said, 5 years. So, of course, it was a road rather than just a sidewalk. I don't know how much difference that makes. Maybe, we'll see, I guess.
And I think just because of the funding, I think we're gonna probably get a little more attention on it. So far, what I've found out that when you are awarded these multimodal funding, that you are given a little more guidance on what they want to do, because they want to be precisely, these are a little more competitive funding.
Yeah, it's a different type of state funding of what the other project was that we had.
Right.
And also, the TAP grant that we will be applying for, the deadline is October the 4th, and that will be to complete the east side of the square. So we're hoping to get funding. And funding on the Norman side, the south side, and the west side, that is city bond money. It is not an ADA grant. I'm not sure where that got started, but it's bond money.
Right.
So just wanted to make that clear.
Well, it's bond funding, but it has to be the ADA guidelines.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
That's what it
Yeah,
is.
we're still,
Anything we do now has got to be the ADA guidelines.
yeah, if we touch it and there's no pledging. But for an example, Nathan can tell you with the rec center, we had to lower a mirror a 1/4 inch because it wasn't ADA compliant. So they're serious. If you have something existing, you make your best effort to comply, to help the handicap. If you touch it and redesign, rebuild, you follow the guidelines. That's kind of where.
The College Street side over here was originally intended on being in the bond issue, because we didn't have enough money to do
They
it.
have the money.
It has already been, everybody knows already, because Mr. Glazer just spoke to it. It's done been engineered already. Anything after that, except for this side, is going to have to be re-engineered. It's going to have to start all over. So the only thing we actually got engineering completed on is all the way around the square and then down in front of Norman's Furniture. That's what we've got engineering and the map and everything drawn up.
Right.
Correct.
Although we still have to go through the bid process.
I know that.
Yeah.
I understand that. I understand that.
Jack, you had indicated a while ago, and I can't read these, and I apologize, I can't read them at all. I
Sorry.
wish I was an engineer. But anyway, you indicated that you'd make some things like the Senior Lopez over here. Did y'all move that wall a little bit? Because like I said, remember, if you open up that door, you bump right into
Right.
the wall. I mean, he has probably that much room. Was that moved over slightly to help him out anything at all?
There wasn't any change made in that one. We did talk with the owner there, and I think he talked with the contractor, and he seemed to indicate he was okay with where he's at with it.
I spoke to him for a long time, and he was in it. He didn't. We were talking about anything, like Mr. Glazer said, like a refrigerator, any appliances goes in there. I don't know how he's going. He can't get it in there. That wall would have to. There's no way he can turn anything in there.
Yeah.
I mean, he has no room.
I think that there's noted on, Brad had noted on the Main Street side, there's a note on one of the walls there that he may look at, he said we might want to look at, that may impede on a doorway, or look at that as design comes along. It's just, but the others seem to be okay, so.
And you've got that noted on here.
It's noted on. What I gave you is just kind of the communication that we had with him. He's working on the actual design. He's not finished, so this is just kind of what he's working with. He'll have to do the actual design. He hopes to have it today or tomorrow to get to the contractor, because once the surveyor starts shooting his grades, he'll need to know what these changes are.
Jack, let me ask you a question. Did you design this?
No, sir.
No, you didn't. Croy did.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people's problem and their issue is with Croy, and so if their issues with Croy, then our issues with Croy. So if we can go back and look at some of this, because I know you've gotten a lot of flack
Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody's looked at you and said, this is Jack Williams' fault, Jack Williams' fault.
No, sir.
All you can do is work with the contractor. The contractor wrote it out like this, and this is stuff that we have approved. We do need to go back and look at it and change it.
Yeah.
So,
And they are revisiting,
good.
some of the
I think they
design.
need to revisit a lot of it, and, but I know you're working as hard as you can, and I would like to see some changes, because I've noticed the same thing, Senor Lopez, his door, I mean, I don't even think it was that. I think it's like, it's very, I mean, my finger's crooked, but I mean, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just wanting everybody to understand that this is not Jack Williams' fault.
No,
It's
it's not.
Troy's fault. It's Troy's fault. So,
To be honest with you, it's our fault. We voted for it.
wish we could have seen some plans before we said yes.
I think that was discussed last month, that the plans were very deceiving because they were not what we expected. They weren't what I expected. And I think we discussed that last month. And we haven't started on the other side as far as putting the seawalls up. I wish we would look into that before they started setting that up.
Anybody else?
All right. So anyway, conclusion over here, they will finish the concrete on the Market Street side tomorrow, I was told, as long as everything holds out. And that should let us open the parking back up full-time. But we will, as the brick mason moves his way back down to finishing the seat wall, we might shift the parking spaces, blocking them a little bit, some at a time, hopefully not the whole block. So as far as the Main Street side they're working on now, the parking's probably going to be blocked for the duration. We'll open up what we can when we can. The weekends, try to keep access. The contractor's trying to do his best to keep in egress and ingress out of the buildings with some little bit of gravel work and maybe some plywood. And we'll do the best we can there. They're willing. And then we try to work with the building owners to let us know what they need best we can to get through it. Also, we have getting another quote on resetting the street lights. Once we'll get those couple of quotes, and he'll start that work probably next week to get it's got to be all new conduits, got to be ran. Everything's got to be redone on all the lights because the old tree roots and all they played havoc just like over here. They wrapped them up and it's all got to be replaced. So pretty much the same thing. Same situation on that side of the square. And those are all some of the change orders that we're facing. But the last thing on this side, now that they're done, there's three, 4 openings that we're going to, the coal chutes, the old coal chutes we're having, those are going to be retrofit, specially made, welded and put in place, flush with the concrete. Make sure there's can't have any step ups or anything like that. No tripping points. So that's where we're at. We just keep moving. So. All right. Item 2. This is to approval to sell a non-functioning. Actually, that's kind of a misprint. What it is, it's an old garbage truck, 2004 model truck we scrapped it. We have the 2 other load-all trucks. It's a load-all brand. We've pretty much scrapped everything out of it to keep the other 2 running. So it's just kind of a pile of scrap metal. We want to declare salvage on it and just have it junked and for scrap metal. That's fine.
Okay, we'll move that on to Tuesday night.
Okay, the other one we have it's an old knuckle boom. That's the old knuckle boom truck. It actually runs. It's a good truck, pretty good truck. It's got they put a motor in it. It's probably got 10,000 miles on the motor and transmission. That's a 98 model. The knuckle boom is pretty well shot, so it's useless to us. But I think we could put it on gov deals and pretty good. Get a little money out of it while it's still operable. So we'd like to put that on gov deals and see what we can do with it because it's just sitting.
So these are 2 separate trucks. Item 2 and 3 are
right.
Okay. All right. Any objection to moving on to gov deals? Okay. We'll put that on Tuesday night.
Okay. All right. Number 4 is street paving. We'll just coordinate with FPU. This is just for information. We'll just let you know Jeff and I have been grading. There is a report that the streets were graded several years ago, but we've also doing ourselves some rating these streets. We have a lot of streets that are in bad shape. So we're working with Clint Gill. He's got a list of some of our high priorities. And there is utility work still to be done on these streets. So we don't want to get in there and tear them out and pave them, and FP would have to come behind us and do their work. So he's working with us to see which ones are going to need some, and then that way we can put priority and try to get some paving done around the city. Because we do have some streets that are in bad shape, but we're not ignoring it. Just want to let you guys know. So.
I do have a question there, and maybe Vice Mayor Bryant could help me with this street paving. They're going, FPU's going back with the concrete.
Mm-hmm.
Was this per an order or an agreement? I mean, why would they not
It's
go
an
back?
agreement.
It's an agreement, right?
We, several years ago, on patching streets, like when they dig a street up, which is a lot, patching them, what they was doing, and this came through our committee, if you remember this, well, it came through planning too. What it was doing is going in and putting gravel and trying to put some coal mix and stuff, and it would not hold up. You had holes sinking down.
Right.
The only way that we could ever get anything to hold up level without sinking was the concrete. It was pour concrete. That was the only way to do it. And the thing about the concrete is if they come in to grind the street in order to pave it, they can grind that concrete too.
Right.
It will grind.
Right.
So we was having so much problem with the backfill was just sinking. And the only way we could stop that was use concrete. And it is in the code.
It is, right.
Fix it.
Okay.
And there are some of those old asphalt patches there in the city that are just, you
You
can
go down
see.
those old asphalt patches, you'll see them sinking.
Mhm.
They just
Yeah.
won't hold up.
And that's what's going to happen with the project here on the sidewalk project. All those cuts that they're making when they're tying in all the new meters, those all be concrete patches.
Concrete don't look that great for as looks goes, but for a safety situation, not pulling tires out and tearing your front end up on your car and everything. That was the way we decided to go with it.
Right.
It will hold up once
Right. It will.
they've done that. But I'm pretty certain it's in the code.
It is. It is. Yeah. And then that's the thing, like Vice Mayor Bryant said, when we do pave a street, we'll grind it out, and then we'll have all asphalt
And
pavement.
wintertime was a real hard situation because there's no hot mix to be had in the wintertime.
No.
So what they was having to do, I got experience with this because of all them years of the gas company, this is the way we've done it. It didn't work too good back in them days, but you can't get any hot mix in the winter. In the wintertime, the plant's shut down. So you go in there and you put some gravel and a little coal mix in it, it just won't hold up.
No. It doesn't hold up to traffic at all.
You're going back all the time and traffic's hitting it, so we decided to just go with concrete for the safety part of it and stability of the street really overall, and it's in the code.
I had just gotten some calls and
Right.
Well,
commenting on the looks of our streets.
It
and
don't look that great,
Yeah.
but in order to fix all of these patches, and it's just one after another, one house after another, in order to maintain the integrity of that street and the base and all, it's way good.
Yeah. And I agree. And there are some bad. That's why I just want to put that out to let you know we're not ignoring it. There's some streets that are.
Now, they color that concrete.
Okay.
They put some color in there.
Hey,
We did
Mayor.
over on the Hillview.
I was gonna say, we sat down, and that was before Jack's team, Brett and his staff, we sat down, Eddie was here, about a whole afternoon to go through the priorities. So there's a priority list at the time, and I guess it still exists. The state was having some holdups that held us all back, but they do have a priority list on how they do plan to address or how we should address. So that is an existing, and we spent at least an afternoon on it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. All right. All right. Item 5. I know Chief Davey was just talking about the ordinance to use Sourcewell. So we need a garbage truck. Really bad. Really bad. We have the two we have, the old load-all trucks. They're pretty well shot, but we're keeping them. The guys do a great job at the garage keeping these things bandaged and running. The load-all company actually has gone out of business. So there's one warehouse in Wisconsin that one little guy's running, and the parts are dwindling down to where there's nothing left to. Like I said, the old truck we want to scrap is he's pretty much taking everything off of it. So there's nothing like this. So we keep the two running by feeding one off the other. So the urgency is there. We do need a truck. We looked at, we went to Pulaski and looked at a truck there. We had, it's the one-armed bandit, we call it, with one driver, one man can operate. But in my meeting, talking with Vice Mayor Bryant and Alderman Martinez, the only way we could have this truck would be to bring the garbage cans out of the alleys. And that's just not a feasible thing, because of the way, the design. And there's elderly handicap that just can't make that happen. So our cans got to stay in the alleys. That's fine, but they're very tight. It's a tough, the truck itself pretty much is full in the alley. So the design we're looking for is this. The reason we have 3 load-all trucks is because it's the great design. It has the side tippers on each side, which they can load from the side. Each driver and worker can load them both sides. So the truck we found, EPG, they have a truck that was in. We went to Memphis and looked at. I didn't go. Assistant Director Jeff Weiser and my mechanic went. It's a great truck they saw in Memphis that like we want. It's a little 14-yard truck, but so what they came up with us, they did do a Sourcewell quote on the truck for us. It's a 20-yard truck, the same design as the load-all. It's perfect for what we need. I feel like that's the best truck. The quote came in at a little bit higher than we wanted, but $376,083.20. I can come up with 20 cents, but I ain't got the rest of it. But we have $325,000 what was budgeted, I think so. In this, so one of the things.
Quick question. That would be once that truck gets built and done, then we would pay that money after it's done here. Right.
The Sourcewell quote state in there, and what the bidder is saying is, if you guys said I could go order it right now, we're looking about 12, 14 months. So the truck, once it's ready, they deliver it. We have 30 days from that point to pay for it. There's no money down, nothing down. The quote locks in. It stays at that 370, whatever we're at. So.
Okay, so it stays at that 370.
Yes. And that quote's locked in until October of this year. There won't be any change in that. No money due and then we have 30 days once we receive it, I guess, to make sure it's what we want.
Well, that's going to push it to the next budget year anyway.
Yes, sir.
I mean, we got $325,000 set aside, but the rest of it's going to end up in the next budget year.
Right.
Resolution would do that. This resolution secure that.
So we've passed this resolution that gives the company the go-ahead to build the truck, and then when it's ready, we will do a PO to purchase the truck.
Right.
And it would be this year's, what we have saved in the budget this year for the truck, and then we'll be into the next fiscal year and take the difference out of the next fiscal year. Is that correct?
That's what we like. And talking with the company, the question they have for us or for you guys would be that could a PO be done for the 325 for the truck? Go ahead and create that PO. He'd have that PO number, and the resolution would state that the remainder. I don't know. I don't know enough about it, but you guys would have to decide on
The
that.
resolution will state, I think.
It will.
That's the remainder will come out of the next budget year.
Correct.
Unless we want to go ahead and set aside now, this month. I mean, you can set aside, but if we set aside, it pretty well means that it's going to come out this budget year. That's the difference. But speak to, y'all figure that out, but speak to, we have, and Dorothy's going to want to hear this if she's not heard it yet, because we get the calls, and Roger now on that committee, these trucks we got now, when they're packed or whatever, there's rainwater and everything in there, and some of it ends up on the street.
Right.
All right, speak to how this truck is designed to help with that.
Well, this truck, the old load-out trucks we have, they weren't lined properly. The interior lining was pretty much like aluminum foil, tin foil, I guess. So, and I think the guys at the shop actually did some relining on the interior, but the seals are all gone on these things. When you pack, like you said, be blunt, the juices and the garbage is packed so tight, but these seals are gone and they leak out. And every so often, when you're running a route, you have to pack, to move on. So at that point they pack, they lose some, and we try to follow them up with a sweeper and try to keep, clean up best we can. But they're pretty well shot. And there again, there's no parts left, you
Now,
know.
this truck is designed different, right?
It's designed different. It's already designed with interior liner, much thicker, better seals, new seals, and also they have several locations available for parts, and they have technicians work, and then they can even come work on it if we need it, whatever. So, but like I said, there's nobody out there anymore to load all. So,
That'd help a lot.
right.
We cut down on that stuff on the streets.
Yeah, and I know it's
I think some of those guys get some of that juice and stuff on them too.
They do, yeah, we had one yesterday, yeah. It's tough. It's tough, so
The
that's,
only thing I'm sorry, Jack, but the only thing, this came through, of course, Roger and us in the community now, and the only thing with me, the question for me is on the definitely wants truck, we don't have any choice. And also, we have found out just in the last year or two that we can actually pay for these out of general fund. We don't have to use sanitation fund to pay for this. So we can do it with general fund. But I just want to be sure we get this funding right, if we don't want to mess up that order because of this funding. I mean, do we need to just put it to where the remainder of another 50,000, whatever it be, would be coming out of next year's budget, or do we need to go ahead and do it up front? What did you say about that a while ago?
The resolution would be similar to what we did for the fire truck.
Yeah.
And that it would basically, we would be saying that you're committing to including that in next year's budget.
Okay.
The $325,000 that you've already got, that's in capital, did come out of general fund, is we could go ahead and do the purchase order for that because it's already in the budget.
So we're not gonna get in no problem with auditors on this.
Vice Mayor, I was gonna say, it was, in my 20 years with Birmingham, it was common that we crossed, when we had big things that we would cross, sometimes more than 2 years.
That was my suggestion to begin with. I just don't want the auditors have some kind of issue with it, so.
And we can double X, but I've done it many times, you know, in my years.
All right, so I'm for moving it forward. Let's do it. Let's just be done with it and do what you said, Jack. If we have to pay them out of that 325, go ahead and do that now, and we'll pay the rest when it comes in.
and he told me that if he gets that PO for that 325 part, we're on and they'll start production right then.
I'm good. I'm good to go. Because I think the longer we wait, it's just going to cost more money anyway.
You're right. You're right.
As long as that resolution takes care of it, I'm okay.
Yeah. And just to kind of, you know, if you're wondering why there's such a difference, like I said before, the truck that was looked at when this other money was approved, the 325 was, I think, was the one-armed bandit truck. It was a couple of years ago. So, of course, you know, prices have gone up and everything, but that truck is not feasible for what we need. So this truck's more, that's what we need.
Yeah,
it works for the city.
That's what was basically done.
It works for the city. Right. Okay.
And I'd like to say also, Debbie and I did tweak this. It's based on using Sourcewell to order this truck, so it's obviously kind of dependent on passing the other resolution to join Sourcewell. So obviously that's going to need to come first in the agenda, and assuming that passes, then we've got language in this one that says that the board has agreed to join Sourcewell.
Okay, we'll move that on then to Tuesday night. Number 6, Jack.
Okay. Next, number 6, just what's going on down at Public Works. Just there's some stuff that needs to be worked on. The buildings are, you know, they're older, and this particular shed, the roof is pretty well shot. We got a lot of rot, and I don't know if we had pictures before, but rafters are gone. Some of the beams, it's beyond repair. So I did get some quotes on totally taking everything off, new rafters, new metal, and get it done right, because right now it's useless to us, and portions of it we can't use this for storage. We have to, but the quotes came in. I did have 3 quotes. Everything was up over the 25,000. Yeah, so it would have to go out for bids, but it's just something I was throwing out there because that's probably the number 1 priority, to get some stuff fixed down there, and probably the highest price item we're looking at. But so
what we're going to be voting on is let it go to bid. Right, let it go to bid. You already bid it.
Yeah.
You're not bid it yet, have you?
No. No, we
This is to
haven't.
let it go to bid.
Yes, sir.
Once
Yes,
it's
sir.
over the 25,000.
Right. No, we haven't put it out for bid yet, but all the quotes came in more than I expected, but once we saw what the damage that's there, so,
Metal is going back to metal, right?
yes, sir.
Metal roof, that's
Mhm.
fine.
You're gonna lose that natural lighting now.
Yeah, we do have that. It helps grow stuff in there. I don't know what that is.
I see that.
Okay. All right, just as far as the report goes, we have finally got the American Stripers lined up the September the 18th. They're going to go in and grind out the turn lane over here, take their out, and so that'll become one way, no turn lane there. That's going to help us open up a handicap parking spot, I think. I'd like to put in there because we've had some issues down the block where there's just no handicap access. So.
Are they gonna strap anything at all in that?
No, sir. Because you have your double yellow line already, so it just simply takes it out as the turn lane, which is it's obsolete. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So
it'd be a two-way street now without a turn lane.
right. Yes, ma'am. And it's just all you're gonna do is grind it out. There's no painting. There's nothing. That's it. So. And then as far as we have our CDL program going, we have 4 guys that are on it. 2 have passed their permit. They're taking their online theory, so they're working on that. We hope to get them ready for test, actually drive pretty soon, so that's going good. And also, last thing is, you guys are probably getting calls and complaints about garbage pickup. Maybe we are, but we're cracking back down on, what was passed. Close lids, put it in a bag, no bags on the ground. I know it's tough, but we try to work with them. But so we're cracking down on it. We're tagging them, letting them know. And so if you get complaints on it, just have them call me.
In the community I live in, a different street from what I live on, but right next to it, there's a big pile out front of the house, and it's not in bags or nothing, just busted.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Go out there on the street.
And as Alderman Painter said, the guy got juice when it's not in bags. When they dump, it's just the one guy's he's had to have eye surgery because this stuff gets on him. So it's it's really for the guys.
For their safety and contamination, you don't know what's in the bag. So
and we offer a second can. It does cost, but there you can if you're, but we are cracking down on it. I'm sure you're probably getting some grief put back, but because we kind of slacked enough, so we're reinforcing that. That's all I got.
any questions?
I think it's a good job you did when the wind came in the other day and picked up those limbs and trees.
Mayor, before Jack take his seat, I know we have not met since we had the washout. Is it a washout over here on Market? But will you give us a little brief on what was the repair like? Because
where the patch? Yeah, it was pretty well. The storm drain pipe was deteriorated, and once we got down there, it was gone, and it hauled out an area. We could sit you guys down in there, and we could meet down there. It was a pretty good sized area. Very lucky that it wasn't worse. Also, there was the sewer line there was a disconnect, and of course we had gas running through it, water. We hit the lottery on that one. We had every possible utility we could get. So the contractor reconnected everything. He concreted over the top of the new storm drain pipe, and then he backfilled with zero compaction gravel and concreted over the top of it until further paving. So I don't remember what the. Do you remember what the cost came in at, Ms. Loretta? It was better than we thought because it could have been a lot worse than what we thought was going to have to be done. So.
We anticipated a lot more money, but
it was better than we thought. But.
We didn't have to, and Jack is correct. When I was called to look down there, it was deep. It was.
They used an extension ladder.
The reason it's so deep with you is you're short.
That's right.
They use it.
What held it up? What kept it from not sinking? I don't understand.
I don't know. I think just the asphalt itself, just the pressure it created. Then once it did show up, it was a whole, maybe 18 inch diameter.
I got a call that night from Mr. Glager, and he had walked outside to leave for the day, And he called me, said, I'm not sure who to talk to, but there's a hole out here. And I said, like a, pothole? No, a hole. And I'm like, okay. And so he sent me pictures, and I immediately sent it to Kevin and to get in touch with you.
I got a call from Chief Bergman. He said, you got a hole in the street. And I knew there was some small potholes. I said, yeah, we're going to get them in the morning. He said, no, you got a hole. And they actually used an extension ladder to get down there and work on the pipe. So we're lucky, very lucky.
Okay, thank you. Moving on with Director Nathan Browning for Parks and Recs.
Morning.
Good morning.
A lot going on. Not as much as probably works, I don't think, but we're looking, number one, for the approval to award a bid to playground equipment to Miracle Recreation. Miss Debbie and I, we've worked on this. She's worked on this extensively to get all the details ironed out for you for today. A lot of reasons why we would like to go with Miracle. They were the company that initially put in Kids Park. It is a different owner. She actually came down from Kentucky, her and one of her representatives, to meet with us, and she spent probably a good 2 hours here. And when we talked about everything, things that she was suggesting went along with kind of what we wanted to do, but had some upgrades. And with everything that she had mentioned that she could do, she was the only one that came in under our proposed budget. The only one that had their contractor's license. So everything pointed to her to go with this model. You do have it, I think, on your iPads, the layout to what we're planning on adding out there. It's a whole lot. It's going to make a pretty big impact, I think, on the city of Fayetteville for the kids especially. In order to do this, we'll be losing the Geodome, which 20 years ago was a great idea. Now it's more like an entrapment for kids. If they get in there, parents have a hard time getting in there to get them. So it'll take that aspect out, but still be able to have the capabilities for the new equipment to do everything that did. Also, the 2.5 area will initially come out and be used for parts to go back into the parks that need some replacement. We'll be able to just transfer places that we need to with the equipment that we have there. So and plus she'll be able to give us all the blue paint we need to touch up any poles, which is a lot. So we're just looking for approval to award the bid to Miracle.
Hey Nathan, real fast, is any of these equipment here, are they accessible for wheelchairs or anything? I didn't, there may be, I just don't.
Well, as far as this particular, we do have the ADA ramp that goes into the big part. Wheelchairs do not go in. These are separate pieces of equipment, so they will not have to have any type of wheelchair access. There will be a ADA swing over there. We have a couple of those now that you can use, but so you're not losing that. But these particular pieces of equipment will not be, I don't believe, wheelchair accessible.
Everyone okay with moving that on to Tuesday night for approval?
Then the money is funded from where?
We have 45 in the capital, along with another 5 in capital, and then the 33 that was awarded. We moved it from fireworks over. We're able to use that money as well. So it came out to be $83,000, and we're coming in just a little below that.
And that is in the budget.
And it is all in the budget, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Number 2, the approval to use $3,500 from the dugout roof that we've been very fortunate to replace all the roofs on the dugouts at Don Davidson. If you haven't been down there, everything's been repainted. The press boxes have been completed. The dugouts have been re-roofed with all matching metal. And the only thing we have left from the upper end is that concession stand. We have the a little over $3,500 left over after the dugouts. So the money is still there, and actually to do the concession stand is going to be probably maybe not even $2,500 of that. So basically just moving it from dugout, what's left over to the concession
Just
stand.
information only.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I think we had to just because it was a capital project, it needed to be brought to you.
But there's no vote on this. This is just, we don't vote on this, right?
I was understanding that it would have to be voted
It
on.
does have to be voted on?
Well, it was not in the capital plan, so you just need to.
Okay, I
The
was just
money is
looking.
there, the budget is there, it's just that you didn't, it's just not in the capital list that you had approved.
So we need to vote to transfer it into that list.
Right.
Okay.
Number 3, Pee Wee baseball field fence bid, looking to get approval to put that out for bid. That the long-term plan is to eventually have all of our fences in the city to all match and look good and upgraded. The Pee Wee field was probably the number 1 priority with the leaning poles, deteriorating background, or the backstop. So we're looking to get that field replaced first. It's important, I believe, for the 4 and 5-year-olds, once they get started in our program to play baseball and they have a nice facility, they'll stay with us throughout the duration of their time to play. So we are looking to get that fence done. I had one guy from Tullahoma that was able to come and look at it, and he came in at $44,000. We have, I think, right at 40 set aside for that. So we're still waiting. Once we get that for bidding, we'll see if it gets below that.
How are we doing on numbers on like baseball and softball? Is the numbers picking up?
Yes, sir. We had right around 100 for baseball, 56 for softball, and 83 for volleyball.
So that's an increase of.
As far as I've been told, it has been an increase from the past few years. Softball, I think, is 100% because I don't think we really had anything going with softball. And volleyball was our first year doing it last year, and we had, I think, 83 young ladies, and they're already asking about it for the spring for this year.
So on this fencing, this is, we will not be voting on this, you're just going to put it out for bid? This
Yes,
is
ma'am.
For information.
Mm-hmm. Item 4, the Stonebridge lights, signage, and fountains. We are on schedule to have the Stonebridge Park lights transferred to the LEDs beginning next, I think, Monday or Tuesday. That will begin the process of that, as well as signage. We have signs up now that will direct you from Stonebridge Park to the square, and then from the square back to Stonebridge Park. Those went up a couple of weeks ago. And with the remainder, we had budgeted for the lights at Stonebridge. We're using the extra remaining money to put lights and fountains into the Stonebridge Park. Those actually came in yesterday. So, and hopefully for veterans, we'll have it to turn green. When we have the Christmas, we'll have it turn red or green out there. So, should bring a pretty nice little aspect to the park. Any questions on 4?
I have one.
Yes, ma'am.
The waterfall there where the trees are, is that in plans to start running again, or has that been cut off for a reason?
We run it from time to time.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. It turns off, throws a breaker, so we have to go out there and do it. It'll run for maybe 2 or 3 days, and when we see it stop, we'll just go out there and turn it back on.
So if it's a
I didn't know if it was in need of.
Yeah, we're working at it, looking at it right now.
Solve that problem.
Yes, sir.
Also, we did get a request from the veterans about turning the city green. The county on the courthouse lawn, they have the green lights in their lamp post around. So we're looking at something with the city building, the municipal building, about lighting it up green. I think it's from the 4th to the 11th, if I'm correct. And then I did ask Nathan, could we turn the waterfall green? And and that will be with lighting, right?
Right, if we do the waterfall, it'll have to be the lighting.
Yes.
The fountains will be green.
And then that can kind of correspond with any other recognition or awareness, like you say, Christmas could be red or pink for breast cancer, whatever, or lighter red. So,
Right.
So I think that would add something to the park and kind of connect it with what's going on downtown. Thank you.
5, 6, and 7 are just some events we have coming up. The Senior Fishing Rodeo will be the 5th of October, working with Walmart and Leith with that right now. Homeschool starts tomorrow, and we'll have our first 2 classes tomorrow starting at 10 a.m. And Men of Virtue starts back next month on the 15th. So looking for those programs to get up and going again for the fall. Number 8 is Halloween Happenings. This is going to be an event. I came in about this time last year, and we had, I think, the setup over in the parking lot, which we'll still use this year. However, we're looking to make this a bigger and better event for the community. We're going to have inflatables, pumpkin carving contest, werewolves, Frankenstein. It's going to be a big event. So the trunk or treaters, we're asking. Hopefully, we'll have as many participants from our businesses in the city to come out and hand out candy. I've already had a couple of conversations who have we're going to come back and do it again. So Abby's getting people set up around the park to come in and hand out candy to kids on the 26th for our Halloween Happenings event. So we're really looking forward to that. So any business that wants to do that, please call us. And that's really all I have, unless you have any questions.
Any questions?
I do, Nathan, on that fishing rodeo. Jeff had got me before the meeting, want to know what age it was going to be starting.
55 and older.
I get to go, Jeff. I'm not allowed. I get to go.
52 and older.
I donate y'all some of my years.
Okay, thank you.
Thank y'all.
Okay, next we have the Planning and Codes Department, Director Christy Gentry.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. The only action item we have this month is ordinance 2024-10, which is the rezoning for 1107 Hedgemont Avenue from R2 to C3. We did announce the public hearing. It was advertised in the Elk Valley Times 2 weeks ago. It is on the front page news section of our city website, posted here at the municipal building. And then 68 letters were mailed out to the entire neighborhood in the area and the businesses right there along Wilson Parkway. There's a lot of rental property in the area, so both a tenant received a letter at that address and then the property owner received one at their address as well. I have not, in our department, received any phone calls or visitors regarding this item. I know that a gentleman did call the front office yesterday and inquired about signing up. He does plan to attend the public hearing and speak. And then I know Mayor Hartman, you mentioned at the Planning Commission, you had received a couple of phone calls. But just wanted to let you know that word is out about that. And then it would be on the agenda for a vote. We would open with the public hearing at the beginning of the meeting on Tuesday, and then in the business, it would be up for the board for consideration of a vote.
Okay, any questions?
That's just one, in the letters that went out to the public, going from R2 to C3, was it outlined what businesses could go in that area?
Yes, ma'am.
Are they aware?
And the letter from the Calverts that was sent to the Planning Commission requesting the rezone, I included that letter in there. I included a map of the zoning map that shows that property, how it is currently zoned, and then the surrounding properties, and then a letter outlining the date of the public hearing and the steps that it entails for the rezoning. So all of that was included in their packet.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not spot zoning. It's not.
good with moving that on.
I've got
Okay.
one question.
Yes, ma'am.
Christie. Now, once it moves from an R2 to a C3, there's no going back. It would stay as a C3, is that correct?
Correct. It would, the zoning stays with the property. It is not with the property owner. So even though it was a request to get the zoning changed, it would be permanent unless another party or the property owner brought it back through the process and asked for a reversal or a change in zoning. But typically, once the property is changed in zoning, I've not experienced where anybody's requested to go back. Yes, ma'am.
So we will have the public hearing prior to the Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting at 5 o'clock, and that's a chance if anyone has comments, either for or against, that's where they would come to speak. And this is just for information. And there again, it's their time and they get to speak, so.
Yes, ma'am. And I will add that a public hearing, since it was called for, unlike signing up to speak on an agenda item, they would just be permitted to come. We may have a sign-up sheet just so that you could call them up, but it is not the same as signing up to speak on an actual agenda item. They are just permitted to speak that night.
Okay.
And then
Yes. Okay, we'll move that on to Tuesday.
I do have a quick update on some commercial projects. The Long John Silvers should be getting close to getting their completion done. We did receive a call from the district manager last week that they're looking at possibly putting up a fence along that back property line, which in turn could help with trash and things blowing into Count Blunt, and it would further beautify their property. The construction plans were approved last week for the Waffle House at the Planning Commission meeting. They are going to wait just a little bit before they pull their building permit because they do not plan to start building until February or March. So if they pulled it now, the time would start ticking. So they're just going to wait so that they wouldn't have to do an extension on their permit. The Five Below project is going strong. An inspection or a partial inspection was done yesterday. They do plan to complete the remodel by November. There is a holiday blackout period for doing store sets, so they do not plan to open until first quarter, right after the first of the year. And then Commander Jesse Casillas and Miss Jill Smith is working on. Jill was doing some property maintenance out and around the area of Fran Drive and near some of the houses out at William Battle Park, right there at the end of that little cul-de-sac. And several of the residents in the area, there's 2 street lights that are kind of the old yellow lighting. And so Commander Casillas talked to Dana Pollock at FPU yesterday, and they're going to try to get those converted over to to LED lights. And so that will help kind of with the safety in that area and better lighting right there at the park. So that's something that they've been working on. And then Miss Jill is also looking at getting into the next right-of-way training with TDOT. She's been talking to Lisa Cross on several projects. And this training, a lot of times in our grant applications, that is a requirement that we have to go through. She did do one class earlier this summer, but that's something that, as we've had turnover with Eddie leaving and stuff, there is, we do need to have employees that have that training. So we're trying to look at that and maybe doing that over the winter months or the next available class. And that's my report.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Next will be the IT department, Gavin McCurdy.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So, as far as IT goes, we have installed a new monitor for Dorita. We have set up a auto attendant for the municipal building to help direct calls and help clear things up for them, so they're not just completely bogged down. I've done a bit of reorganizing in my office to clean up some of the clutter, get rid of stuff we don't need anymore, and just give me more space. We installed a new battery backup inside the municipal building server room so that if the power goes out, our servers will still stay up and everyone will have access to all their files. set up a new printer in the front office because that one kept going out. So we've got a new one going. And met with the Vigilon Motorola for new security cameras for the municipal building to help increase security and replace the old ones we have that are starting to get a little bit of outdated. Unless there's any questions, that's...
Any questions for our team? Thank you. And we'll move to finance with Director Loretta Garner.
Item number 1 is the budget amendment for the current fiscal year. There's just a couple of items there. One being the surety bonds. The prices have increased. Apparently, it costs more to have me insured now. And also, we added Debbie to that policy, so we did not have enough budgeted for the increases in those costs. Then also we had the lighting for the downtown that to come out of tourism. We did find out that yes, we could use those tourism money to replace those lights in the downtown project and not have to take it out of our contingency fund. Then the last item on that is the South Central Tennessee Tourism. That was inadvertently missed when we were doing our budget, original budget, and again, that would also come out of tourism funding. Have any questions? Okay, next item is the approval of the masonry bid for Camp Blunt. The representatives were there when we opened the bid, and they seemed to be okay with this. The original bid that we had not accepted because we only had one bidder, and they did not have the proper licenses and everything needed. So we put this back out for bid. And also the original bid, that they didn't include some of the chinking and some of the items that were specifically in the specs. So this bid does include those items, and this would also come out of the Camp Blunt grant that they received.
I did speak to their finance or their secretary and treasurer, and they were very pleased with this bid. Like you say, when they first bid, it was the entire job, and when they went back, due to specialization that they have to have in that project, they kind of broke it up. So they were very pleased with this $88,000. I think the first bid came in, Loretta, maybe around $300. I mean, it was just astronomical. So they are pleased with this.
Any more questions? Next item is kind of for finishing up for 24. Our auditors will be here. I've been actually in conversation with the auditors. The first part of it is the animal control. The county had spent some funds that we were not aware of on the initial startup, and then but we will be including those going forward. Specifically the cell phone every month. The county pays for it, so we would be, when they reimburse us, we will be subtracting that off of what they will be reimbursing us for the remainder of the expenditures.
Now, explain this again one more time. The cell phone is the only thing they're doing.
Right. Well, they had some stuff on initially, like at the very first, before we really got organized. We weren't aware of it until last week.
They're paying for all the cell phones.
Correct.
Yeah.
Are we going to reimburse them for half of that?
Yes.
We are, and that's what this is about, yes.
Yeah, and we'll be reimbursing them for half of those cell phone usage.
Do we have notification of that up front? Is it doing that or how that?
We did. Let me explain. We knew when we first started, each one of us had to do certain things. The county was able to get in and do the phones. Remember, there was no communication that could be done, so the county was able to get in and get the cell phone started.
Okay.
So what Loretta's referring to, they did do that, and we were knowledgeable, but we did not know the cost until as we were closing up.
So that would not have been in our budget?
No.
Okay.
No. No.
That's kind of what I want to know right there. It was not in our budget.
Was not.
Because we didn't have the information.
Right. We didn't have the information at that.
So
We just got the information last
This
week.
is the reason we have to do a budget amendment.
That's it. And then also, you remember last year we got a finding for not, excuse me, for not budgeting transfers. Well, when I got ready to close the books for the year, there were some transfers we had made during the year, and this just cleans those up. Make sure that we're budgeted for those. No money, no additional money. It's
This
just a
should
matter.
clean us up. This should be the last one, right?
This should be the last one.
Okay,
Yes.
should clean everything.
Yeah, because our auditors are coming in. They'll be here.
It'll be the last one for 2024.
Right, right, that's correct. We, as a matter of fact, yesterday, I sent them the trial balance, got the books closed for 24 and sent it to them, so they're ready to start the audit. We'll be starting that soon. Then, any other questions on that? Okay, all right. Next item is the resolution to apply for the property conservation grant. This is a $4,000 grant with a 50-50 match. It would help cover some of the cost of the security cameras. And we've already got those in our budget. I think I mentioned in the finance committee that we might as well get some help on paying for that. And this comes for the insurance, PEP.
Is the school system helping on this?
They are.
They're in this.
Yeah, they're not doing half, but they are helping.
Okay.
Any more questions? Our finance report, again, that next month you will start seeing a budget amendment for the current 25 year that will reflect the revenue that we've received off of the animals control. That is not included in the part that we share with the county. We're keeping it segregated, keep it separate, and then the committee can decide how that funding is to be used. Then our office is currently working on sending out delinquent letters for our property taxes. This is something we've not done in the past, but we feel like would be helpful in trying to collect the 23 taxes. These are delinquents. These are not, in October, we'll be sending out the new notices. But this is for those that were due February 28th or 29th this year for 23 taxes. And we're just trying to send out some notices, let people know that, hey, you've got some taxes that are due, because what we found out last year was that there was a lot of people that, through sales or maybe somebody had passed away, there's certain circumstances that they just didn't realize that they owed that. And so by sending out a second notice, a delinquent notice, that maybe they'll get notification and maybe we can collect some of this and not have to turn it over to the clerk and master. And that's our ultimate goal. Our sales tax for the month was increased by 7% for our local option, but the state share sales tax only increased 1% this month. The occupancy tax continues to see decline this month. It was 16% decrease over last year. And that's my report. Anybody have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Now moving on to the administration, City Administrator Kevin Owens.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. My first item I have under the administration report, I think the mayor made reference to the TAP grant and vice mayor made reference to the east side of the sidewalks. But we have opportunity to TAP grants through the state open in August, and the deadline to apply is October 5th. We will have another work session, but not another board meeting. Well, this upcoming board meeting will be the only one. So I'm asking for the opportunity to apply for the TAP grants that we're hopeful that will address the east side of the sidewalks. It is an 80-20 match with this one. We do not know the exact cost right now, but that's being worked up maybe by Tuesday, but that's something we're looking to apply for, and I wanted to ask for permission to apply.
Would that be just for this project only, or would it be a broader? This one on this side came in at something less than 300,000.
Correct.
It was the cheapest one of the bunch.
Correct.
All the way around.
Correct.
So if those prices holds, which is doubtful, if those prices holds, so let's say if this one came in at 350, are you going to apply for that amount or for a larger amount?
To be honest with you, Vice Mayor, we were just looking towards this, but I mean, there's nothing to take us from applying.
Do you have to be specific on what you're applying for?
We do, but I mean, we do have room to apply for bigger if we desire.
But maybe the bigger was less chance of getting it.
Well, I do believe that because we're doing so much work right now, that increases our chances.
Okay.
I mean, primarily, we just looked at that because we knew we had the engineering somewhat already looked at.
We've got an estimate on this
right,
side.
Correct.
Correct.
Correct. Correct. But there's nothing to exclude us from broadening that application scope.
So I thought we were not gonna mess with this side.
And that was because of funding. That was mainly because of funding. We originally, when we went to Croy, we did include looking at this, but when the money was really realized, we said, hey, this side may not be able. If we apply for the TAP grant, that would give us an opportunity, and receive it, it would give us a chance to address this side.
And where would the funding for the match come from?
That probably come out of general funds, probably, yeah.
You got a guesstimate of how much you might want to apply for, just
Let's say,
off the top of your head?
let's say, as Vice Mayor was saying, I was looking at the 350, and if let's say things, I was looking at a max of about 75 as far as a 20% match from general funds.
350 will probably do it.
Yeah,
But I'm not sure, because you never know what this cost us stuff.
Right.
You just never know what that. But I remember it being, you've got the number of what it was. Seemed like to me it was just around 300,000 or maybe a little less or a little more.
Yeah, a little more.
It was the lowest priced one.
It was.
In the side for some reason.
It was.
But Kevin, before we decide on this side over here, with this decides to go through, I mean, I'm not for it, but just for the simple fact, if we do construction on this front side, Carter's Drugstore, you can't just walk to the back end because they got all kinds of things to do there. How's people gonna get in?
Oh, we got some logistics to look at.
A lot of logistics.
Yeah, we have logistics. I mean, it's similar to all the sides, but you're right. We have to look at
There's
people
nothing
coming
like
in
this
and all
side
that.
that's been compared to on other sides, right?
Yeah.
But it's a safety issue, and a lot of this.
It's a law issue. You can't just walk through a back end of a pharmacy.
Well, I don't know about that, but it's a safety issue. As it came out, based primarily on safety, on experiencing people getting hurt, falling and all. One in front of Norman's Furniture, and this right out here was the worst. I pick people up myself up off this sidewalks out here. They're just, anyway, that's.
And I think that was taken into consideration when they did design. They did some studies prior to the design, and you're right, Vice Mayor, Norman's was for the most danger.
Yeah.
was Norman's, and this one was second. And the bricks are crumbling on the steps, so something needs to be done. And, you know, we could work the logistics of it and, you know, try to keep them open as much. Also, Carter's has a delivery service. We would not want to put any burden on them. But, you know, that for maybe a day or the time, you know, if they're just shutting them down for a day, then we could work something out.
Yeah. And I would, if we do apply for it and if we do receive, I would say we would have to do many meetings with cars to see how people come in and out. Whether we do it in 2024 or whether we do it in 2030, I know we do have to address the sidewalks eventually. I can speak a little more about this side than I can others because I've seen episodes. We had a lady come in less than a month ago and she couldn't get back out. I mean, we had to be creative, and thankfully David was around and we had to kind of go around the building just to kind of get out. She just could not get down the sidewalks. And in that day, I mean, we had to really just think hard how we could get her just down the other stairs and get the fire truck to come and bring her back. So I'm not saying that we have to, but I do say it will have to be addressed eventually.
Well, one thing Carter's got going for it on the prescription side is they've got another place.
Right.
You get prescriptions filled out in the bypass, which could be a little bit unhandy, but because you cannot shut your prescriptions down, not even for 24 hours.
We can't.
You can't.
That's true.
You can't shut that down. So they got another place on the bypass, but it's
Aren't
just.
those two, excuse me, aren't those two separate?
No.
They are the same.
That's what they are. They are.
Yeah.
You can't just swap from the ear to
Right.
ear.
You can't do that?
They're not the same, right.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
So we'd have to work around that some way, probably. I didn't know that. But anyway, we'd have to figure some way that the prescriptions would have to be filled. I mean, there's no way, they just have to be. Might have to pour some concrete at night or something. And get that fast period set up in just a little bit, but that's just one of the things that's going to be worked out.
And I did talk to Lisa Cross with South Central Development District, and she felt like, they couldn't guarantee us anything, of course, but she felt like since this was funding to finish the downtown project, that we had a great probability of getting the STAP grant. So she's really working hard for us on this one. So.
Well, I know I walked in out there about 3 months, about 6 months ago, right down there, and I reached over and grabbed one of them rails and it just fell over. It's just, I mean, you know.
Okay, so, okay, to move that resolution forward to Tuesday night to apply. This is just permission to apply. Okay?
As far as the second item, I wanted to ask the board permission to amend our policy, and this would be to allow a part-time accessibility to health insurance. Looking at this particular case, we do have an employee who is also considered part-time, who is a benefactor. It appears that this person from research has been a recipient longer than anybody has been on this board, but right now, in order to include the second, we would need to amend the policy in order to do that. So I wanted permission to take it to the board.
Okay with this? Okay, we'll move this on to Tuesday night.
So we'll have a copy of the policy.
We get a copy, yes, sir. We get that to you.
For information on it.
Yes, sir. Yes, that's fine. Other issues, one of the things we've been consistent and I've tried to also give it to the merchants impacted, but we do meet as far as contract with the contractors as well as the engineers on sidewalks every second Tuesday of the month. That meeting is coming up this coming Tuesday at 9:30. It is welcome anybody from the public, but if you have any particular concerns or questions, you can direct to myself, and it's been generally myself, Jill, and Jack, as far as any questions or concerns to take to them. But this will be a meeting held on Tuesday, September 10th at 9:30 up in the motor room. And we do send notices out to all of the merchants that are impacted at the time about the meeting. Number two, the city will host the annual 9/11 observance on the even years. The city hosts on the odd years, the county. We have several people, part of our family, the city's family, that will participate. That event will be at 10 a.m. on the county courtyard on September 11th. I also want to say we're coming to the end of Jerry Taylor's contract. I want to thank Jerry, but I also want to thank the board for allowing. Jerry has been a tremendous asset to us to upgrade our computer processes and our systems. We've made a lot of advances. I'm going to do an exit interview with him next week. If there's any concerns with that, please let me know. Anything you want me to bring to his attention. He will also be here today working with us on some stuff. But I do want to thank the board for allowing Jerry. And also, just to close out, we did receive our license from the state in order to be a full animal control facility. We received that last week. There was a process. I would like to thank the public and the board for all of your patience over this last almost year, but we are certified now, I guess. And unless there's any questions or concerns at this point, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions? Item I, this is just, I have notified the board of 2 appointments, and that will be coming up for a vote on Tuesday night. If there's no other comments or questions, this meeting is adjourned.